Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com. Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments here at Rufino's. Glad to be with you. Charles Hannegriff, Richard Dixon. Jimmy Ott will join us a little bit later on in the show. Max Gotro is here. We got the whole group here, Barry. The bartender's here. Beautiful new renovated bar here at Rufino's. Love to see you come in. SEC home opener for the Tigers as they take on the Florida Gators. That's always the guy sitting to my left here knows a little bit about some competitive and in some cases kind of historic LSU Florida games. Rich, good morning. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Just making it ready for another football game to happen. I got to wash one away.
Yeah, I understand. The Lions didn't do as well last night as they did in week one. You 1-1. It's okay.
1-1. Rough night last night. We can play better.
Okay. Well, you got to cut down on the turnovers, right? Got to cut down on the turnovers. We'll have all of our usual Friday guests that will be making our picks as we go into week 3 of the college football season. But, Rich, let's start by going back to LSU and Louisiana Tech a week ago. We did the film study. And get it on YouTube, the Handycast. Look up film study with LSU against Louisiana Tech. Subscribe, like, please. We appreciate all of the help. But one of the things that surprised me when we went and looked at the film, I was all ready to blame the lack of a running game, and certainly that was a part of it. And what we saw on the film was something that Garrett Nussmeier confirmed a couple of days later, which was he probably had his roughest game outside of the box score doesn't necessarily show it, but one of his rougher games as a starter in some throws that he missed. The first one to Barry Brown was very obvious to everybody, but some of the other ones that we found in film study, he missed some reads, he missed some throws. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, he just had a bad night. When we did post-game Saturday night, my gut reaction is the offensive line. Like, there must have been pressure in the middle. I felt like I convinced myself they had pressure up the middle because you get your center hurt. DJ goes in there, and like my mind's just going, well, I guess he's off because he's getting pressure up the middle, and I couldn't really justify watching it firsthand on the game live. And then we went back and watched the film, and I looked at the PFF grades. I'm like, offensive line didn't play that bad, and it was just Nuss was just a little bit off. I mean, if you go but watch the film, there's a couple plays where I think that he's just late to a read. I mean, he misses the first guy, misses the second guy, forces the ball, and then look, there's a lot of things missed, and then he shows off his arm talent. There's a lot of throws that he makes that are just not the right decision, and there's drops. So there was a lot of touchdowns that were left on the field the other night.
Can I tell you, it made me feel better just after doing that, and just stay with me here. Garrett Nussmeier is not going to have many bad games, I don't think.
No.
This is one of the easier things to fix. I actually feel better that Nussmeier, by his own admission, he said it like on Wednesday. We did this thing on Tuesday. Look, it wasn't my best game. I have complete confidence that he's going to make those reads more often than he doesn't. He's going to make those throws more often than he doesn't.
It's a tough spot. I mean, you get so much hype for the Clemson game. We always say you're not looking ahead, but you have a 3-3-5 defense mixed in before Florida at home. Like, I just don't think, it's a spot where I can see that he just, wasn't as mentally ready.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back to a game. You're going to remember it immediately. We've talked about it before. 2007, you were on that team, national champions, played a really rugged game against South Carolina. Steve Spurrier was a coach. That was a
first touchdown ever in that game.
Okay, there you go. And South Carolina was ranked 12th in the country that year, and you guys won. That was the Flynn flipped it over his shoulder to Colt David.
To Colt David.
Colt David. Okay. LSU won that game 28-16. It was a competitive game. South Carolina was a very good team. And at that point, you guys had won two conference games, one of them on the road against Mississippi State. You'd beaten Virginia Tech within an inch of their life, who was a top 10 team. You'd routed a rental win. And you go down to New Orleans to play Tulane, who was not very good, and absolutely
10 o'clock kickoff.
Sleptwalk through most of that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking about letdown factor. You guys didn't let down after the Virginia Tech game, surprisingly. You blew Middle Tennessee right out of the stadium. But after the South Carolina win, the game against Tulane, the intensity wasn't there. You've told this story before.
There was a lot of factors going into that.
Yeah.
I mean, mentally we weren't there. It was Tulane. We're riding high, feeling really good about ourselves.
Oh, by the way, you're playing Florida the next week.
Playing Florida the next week. It's 10:30 kickoff. At 10 a.m. It was a special kickoff.
It was early, yeah.
Rise of the Phoenix.
It was a morning,
whatever.
yeah.
So pregame meal was at 6 in the morning. And
gross.
I remember sitting there, and you can tell the story now, it's terrible, but nobody was focused on the game. People were talking about, everybody already had hotels in New Orleans. And I kind of put this back on coaching. He allowed us to stay in New Orleans, after the game. So we already had plans of what we were doing, where we were going, how we were hanging out. Let's get through the game. I mean, it was just one of the worst prepared games that, we'd ever had. And, look, we go out there, and I think we give up 5 or 6 sacks in the game. Is it 13-10 at half or 13-13? It's a real close. The second half, we take care of business.
Yeah.
But that first half was rough.
You cannot trust you kids to take care of yourselves when it comes to transportation to and from the game. The great Bill Arnsparger, okay, one of the greatest football minds ever and a strict disciplinarian in 1985, gave all the LSU players their stipend and said, get to Memphis for the Liberty Bowl however you want. That didn't work out very well.
Well, I'll say that they bust us down there, but all you had to say to stay was, I'm staying with my parents.
That's
tonight.
it. You can't trust you guys. You're
I'm
19,
staying with my
20-year-old.
parents
You can't trust those guys. Not at that. You couldn't trust me at that age. I mean, you can't trust those guys. So what I'm saying is there's letdowns everywhere. And after 9 months, roughly, of 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, Clemson, that there was bound to be some type of letdown. Now, where the theory breaks down, though, is there was no let-up on the defensive side of the ball.
No, the defense was ready. I mean, look, they watched the Southeastern film. It wasn't very impressive. I mean, it was a game that
Southeastern fed them field position
Exactly.
the entire game. They turned the ball over 5 times.
I think that offense wanted to go. I really think that Garrett wanted to push the ball down because when you go watch the film, it was the first time he didn't take the easy stuff. There was a lot of things open across the middle, 5, 10 yards, the easy stuff. He was looking to push the ball downfield, and they got out of rhythm.
I asked you this on the film the other night. If you want to go watch it, you can go watch it on YouTube, Handicast. But I'm going to ask you again here. The Clemson played too high, and La Tech played more of a shell. Both of those things kept LSU from pushing the ball down the field as much as they would have liked. So I asked you the other night, this all they're going to see the rest of the year? The things that resemble this 3-3-5, and you said
No.
Because
What did I say?
Because nobody else runs this.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Very few teams run this.
Very few teams run it. It's something tough to deal with. It's kind of like when you're playing back in the day on defensively, like a Navy or Academy school, and you're going to get the double wing and mismatch, and that's not something you're going to see a bunch of. So you kind of prepare for it a little bit.
The shell, not the too high. They're going to see a lot more.
They're going to see a lot of too high, but
yeah.
when they're going to take that away is when you get your opportunities on those you can't miss those. Those you got to hit when Barry and Brown gets open. When they make a mistake, you got to hit. You got to run the ball successfully and too high. I mean, the whole check when we used to play was too high, run a single high pass it. I mean, that was the Les Miles offense once he got nervous. So once you get into a too high, you have to have guys that can beat him over the middle. You have to be able to run the ball, and you have to play with spacing. And that's something we can do, which is going to make them clamp down. And then when they do clamp down, you got to beat them over the top and make them pay for it.
A lot has been said about maybe the lack of creativity.
Plenty of creativity
in the offense. Yeah, and so let's take the Barry and Brown play. because this was a look that they had shown before, but it was just a little bit different. And this is, in my opinion, this is creative offensive play calling. You take a look that they have seen before, but you change it just a little bit. And the look that they changed was the diamond. You call it the star. I call it the diamond. The four receivers in that star, that diamond to one side, and a single receiver to the other side. When they ran this against Clemson, they ran Trey'Dez Green as a single to one side and the star to the other side. Clemson left Green in one-on-one coverage, and LSU hit him for the touchdown. In this time, they go with Barry Brown as the point of the star. Up at the front of this thing. They motion him out of it. So it looks like the same thing.
Trey'Dez was the point of the star.
I'm sorry, Trey'Dez was the point of the star. But they motioned out of it.
On the right. You had Brown playing left. So, they set up with two bigger guys to look like it's going to be a pop pass, and we're going to block.
Yeah.
So you get guys that play down, and then you have Barry Brown motioned out wide. Now he's one-on-one. You got him. I mean,
they didn't go with the motion in the play at Clemson,
yes.
And they changed where Green was. Okay, so it sort of looks the same, but it's a little bit different. When they motioned out of it, they got everything they wanted. Yeah. They got Brown
one-on-one
in man coverage, and he smokes a guy, and the pocket's clean, and your all-star, your quarterback missed the throw.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's 7-0 there, which it should have been. Well, does it feel a little bit different?
That's the fourth play of the game. It throws the interception on, I believe.
It's third or
fourth. We're moving the ball. I mean, you hit that play, the momentum goes up. I mean, that ramps things up. You get positive.
Everybody feels different. I think it's 7-0. It's like, okay, this is going to be.
You throw the interception on the third or fourth play, and now you're like, okay, all right, let's move past it. But then I just don't feel like the offense really moved past it quickly. I mean, they kind of got down on it, started pressing. Look, if you watched what we did on Tuesday night with the film, I didn't put a lot of defensive plays on there because the defense was awesome. They played perfect. There wasn't a lot of things to talk about. Well, he would have done something. I mean, defense played lights out, and that's where I have a lot of confidence going into any game that we're going to play.
That one play that ends up giving up the touchdown, one player completely blows an assignment.
Yeah.
Everybody else 10 players did what they were supposed to. As near as we can tell. 10 players did what they were supposed to do, and one guy either missed the call or
he blitzed when he was not supposed to blitz.
Yes, he's got no help back there, and so that's what happens. You get a receiver wide open.
If he stays in coverage, you go watch it. The quarterback's getting hit as he's thrown to a wide open guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sack.
The only reason he's wide open is because the guy that was assigned to cover him decided to blitz for reasons passing understanding. So when we say that, we would tell you if 8 guys were screwing up or 5 guys were screwing up or if the offensive line played like absolute crap, okay, we tell you if that's what we saw. It's not what we saw.
No, I mean, it just was one guy. I mean, look, Nuss said he didn't play his best. I have a full confidence he's coming back and play.
And we did, to be honest, think of us as homers or whatever. No, we put 3 or 4 plays in there where Nussmeier misses a read, misses a check, misses a throw, misses whatever. Okay, we're going to show it to you. And it's not an indictment on Nussmeier. It's just like, hey, the guy missed some.
There was another play where it looks like the offensive line, Trey'Dez missed a chip block. He just completely whiffed and allows the guy to get around the edge on the tackle. So, I mean, like I said, just like you, after I watched that film, I felt so much better. Like, I was like, okay.
Kelly, too, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. Once you see, like, it's the little things that, I thought the effort was great. Guys played hard. But it just little things that didn't allow you to put the game out of the way where it should have been.
I want to talk about some more things in the run game when we come back, but we are at Ruffino's. Log of the Week Friday is presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments here. When the restaurant opens at 11 o'clock, come and enjoy the weekly specials menu, which includes the alligator arancini with the Italian cheese blend, creamy risotto, and green onion aioli, the whipped ricotta with basil oil. The featured steak today is the coffee and ancho rubbed hanger steak. Max, you know what ancho rubbed means? Me neither, but it sounds good. Sauteed green beans come with the featured steak. Seared scallops with chorizo and sweet corn risotto. And the dessert featured today is the praline tiramisu, ladyfingers soaked in sweet milk, creamy custard, salted caramel, pecan, and rolled oats crisp. That is your lunchtime menu here at Ruffino's. We always love it when the place gets a little bit pep and step. Florida Gators are coming to town, so come on by and join us. Start your weekend early here at Ruffino's. Restaurant opens at 11 a.m. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right. Sorry about that. Bit of a power problem. From time to time, we will run into a technical issue. We're back. Rich, let's get into the run game, which is where we were starting with when we went to break. And what we call a non-traditional run game has been successful for them through the first couple of weeks. They've used Xavier Thomas in some creative ways. They got Harlan Berry loose on what was a traditional play, but I think what's bothersome to Brian Kelly and probably to the fans too is they didn't just line up and blow Louisiana Tech off the ball. So what did you see from that, and how long I don't want to say get away with the non-traditional run game, but how much can you emphasize it? How much of that's sustainable?
This goes back, a few years. I don't think we've had a traditional blow you off the line run game in a while. And I'm not saying you have to have it. I mean, that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to. Like when I think of SEC football is 220, 230-pound running backs, 5 yards blowing each other up.
When LSU had that, all we did was complain about the pass game. So,
yeah, I mean, and that's my point. Like right. you love it, and then you hate one side of it. I mean, you got to be, I'm happy with the pass game. I think that it's very interesting. Go watch some of the film. I mean, the one where Xavier got loose was a cool play. The one where Barryon Brown got it, coming back out of the wing was a cool play. Like they're very interesting, creative plays. Harlan Berry got loose, but I thought that it's getting blocks at the next level, and I think that there were plays where we did it, and they sprung guys free. We talked about combination blocks against Clemson, where there was a couple plays that could have been bigger if they got to the next level, if they were more comfortable with each other. I thought they did it a few times better, but when we do try to run traditional run game, I just don't. I don't know if it's something that these guys spend a lot of time doing. Is working on just a traditional run game.
Well, you say that, but Caden Durham had 13 carries.
Yeah,
that's what
and it wasn't very good.
No, it wasn't.
And all your yards come from 3 plays. We looked at it, and one of them was a good run that was a more traditional, and then the other 2 runs were not. They were more of the creative style runs.
And look, maybe you can do that. To the extent that they're doing it. Lord knows, use all your weapons. Yeah. If you can use Xavier Thomas this many creative ways, then by all means, knock it out.
To me, look, he is I like our running backs. I like Durham. I like Berry. I think Xavier Thomas is the best running back we have on the team. The way he sees the field, the way he moves. I mean, he's a natural runner. There was one, and this was, Barry and Brown, we talked about in the run he broke for 15 yards. His vision, I think, when he makes that first step into the second level, his eyes get crossed and he runs into the tackle. The vision that Thomas has, I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to, he has Barry Sanders type vision. And I'm not calling him Barry Sanders, but he's a guy that is always looking for an escape route. Yep. He always sees it. When I watch him on film run the ball, to me, he's the best running back on the team.
Here's something else we've heard a lot this week. Braylon Moore is back, and
is he? I heard
he practiced yesterday.
Okay.
Kelly called him good to go yesterday. He took all the first team reps. He's ready to go. He went out on the first play of the game, first play from scrimmage. That LSU's run game stalled mostly because he wasn't in there. Plays we saw. Listen, DJ Chester's not, Dwight Stevenson, but I didn't think he played all that bad in this game. It's not like it was his guy that was making all of these tackles. So Moore is better. That's the reason he was the starter. But it will improve. But it doesn't fix everything, but it should improve it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Moore and Thompson are the best of the 5 getting to the next level and blocking linebackers. And that's where the run game comes from. You got to seal off, kick out, and get to the next level. And they're the 2 best at it. DJ didn't have a terrible game, but he doesn't get to the next level like the other 2.
Like Moore does, yeah.
And when you have those bigger bodies that aren't getting to the next level, it clogs things up, and you really don't have the room to create separation.
He makes most of the line calls, the center.
Yes.
We didn't see a lot of miscommunication. It looked like the calls at least were correct.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that there wasn't a lot of MAs. I mean, there wasn't guys just not knowing what they were doing. We just didn't execute it at a high level, especially in the run game. I thought the pass game, the 2 sacks, one's on Nussmeier, one's on the tight end. So I'm not saying the sacks in that game were 100% on the offensive line. Nussmeier missed 2 reads, and then, let's be honest, he fell without being touched on 1 sack.
It was a strange play.
It was a very strange play because he had Berrien Brown wide open for a touchdown down the sideline.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like that, then you have
what's not to like about Berrien Brown wide open on the sideline?
Because people are saying that the way he released, he kind of looked like he was falling down. So if that's what threw you off of Brown, then you got to immediately come to the tight end who's sitting down over the ball. So he had 2 options that were in his line of vision, and I just wasn't sure why he didn't pull the trigger on those. And then once he pulls the ball down, he still had a little bit of a pocket. He tries to escape, and he just kind of backpedals and falls down.
They're going to look at a different kind of athlete against the University of Florida. They may very well see some man coverage, which they haven't seen a hell of a lot to this point. Kind of what they want, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage of it when you get it, and I think that was the biggest problem with Louisiana Tech. We got 5 or 6 shots we could have gone down the field with, and we just didn't take our advantage when we did have that single coverage.
Okay, so all that being said, and we'll touch just a bit on the defensive side of the ball, and then we'll put Louisiana Tech in the rearview mirror. Defensively, they were as sharp as they could be expected to be. This is what I saw. I saw good coverage. I saw good pressure on the quarterback. I saw crisp tackling. That's probably the thing I like about this defense most of all is they don't miss, at least through 2 games, they have not missed a whole bunch of tackles.
The one QB run, I mean, it was a play where Patrick Payton, I think, maybe had an MA there. He got high. It was a down kick out that he kind of went around, and you ended up with Perkins and Payton on the outside, which created a gap. But what we had the shoestring tackle by Halsey. He flies in there, and it's a 12, 13-yard gain that we've seen go for touchdowns before.
Halsey is a difference maker. And that play I'm glad we put that play on the film study because it might have gotten lost. It was a 13-yard gain. He catches the guy by the foot, like you said, by the shoestring. And if he wouldn't have scored, if Halsey doesn't catch him,
it's a 30-yard
at the very least, they're in the red zone. The coverage in the secondary, I thought, was very good. The rotations up front defensively, I thought, were good. But more than anything, I think they cover well and they tackle well.
And I'm trying to pull it up because when I was doing the film, and I go back and I look at the play charts and the drive charts, and of course, when I'm trying to pull it up on my phone, it's taking forever. But when you pull it up, and it was like 3 plays 9 yards, 4 plays 12 yards. Like 3 plays, -7 yards. Like the drive chart was absolutely insane.
Until the last drive, they had 75, 80 yards?
Yeah, they finished with 151, and it was 33 on the last play.
Okay, so 120 for the game. You'll take that against anybody. That's
first quarter is, they start off with 3 plays, 9 yards punt, 4 plays, 20 yards punt, 8 plays, 26 yards punt, 5 plays, 17 yards punt, into half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first half of defense. I mean, first coming out the third quarter, 7 plays, 34 yards punt, 3 plays, -3 yards punt, 3 plays, 4 yards punt, 3 plays, -8 yards punt. I mean, you get what I'm saying. That was the drive chart the entire game. They make 1 play.
I can't have asked for anything more. Schematically, you watched this team all last year, same defensive coordinator. They running anything drastically different than they ran a year ago?
They're tackling and covering.
Well, yeah, but I mean schematically.
No, this is the same
stuff. This is upgrade your roster and
we didn't have guys that could cover. I mean, I think Brian Kelly said it as much in his press conference when he said, "What's the biggest difference?" It says, when you can play with coverage, you can play fast. I mean, once you have guys covered on the outside and everybody plays their 111th, what we've talked about for 2 years, this is what happens.
There's an awful lot of reasons to like LSU in this game this week. They're at home. I think they've got the better roster. I think that, Nussmeier will bounce back, but maybe as good as any of them. And I give our colleague Hunt Palmer credit for digging this stat up. I I didn't notice it the first time I scanned the box scores. Florida has given up 18 tackles for loss in 2 games. They have played South Florida, who's pretty good, and Long Island, who Max pointed out to me beat a Division I team last week, but it was Eastern Michigan. It wasn't LSU. So let's just say that they haven't played the Packers and the Chiefs so far. And 18 tackles for loss sounds like a lot to me.
That is a lot. I mean, and especially with the way these guys like to play defense, it does make me feel really good. 18 tackles for loss in 2 games, an average of 9 per. That's just a ton. And if you end up in down and distances, you end up in 2nd and 12, you end up in 3rd and 11, that's an awfully difficult way to fly. And you've seen a little bit of DJ Lagway this year. I saw a decent amount of the South Florida game. I see a quarterback that didn't have much of an off season. You have hammered this point home 100 times because it's worth doing. It's worth hammering home. The quarterback in the summer, this is where you can win a championship. And DJ Lagway really didn't have a summer. He didn't have a spring. It's not his fault. Yeah. It's not like he didn't work hard, but he's had multiple injuries. He had a sports hernia. He had a calf muscle. He had a shoulder. And it kept him out of all of spring. It kept him out of a good bit of the summer, and it kept him out of the beginning of the fall. And when you're quarterback, especially for him, at that crucial stage of development, after your first 6 starts or your first 8 or 10 starts, that second year, man, you're ready to make the jump. And at least through the first couple of weeks, he looks a little bit – it's not that he's not a talent. He's the tremendous talent. But he looks like a quarterback that didn't have a great offseason, though maybe, like I said, it's not necessarily his fault. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that summer workouts with your quarterback and receiving group is the most important thing. It's when you get thousands of reps in. You're going to 2 classes a day. I mean, it's the most pro ball feel you have when I'm done with class at 9 in the morning. Yeah. I spend all day on football. Like we go to the gym. You go work out. 5 o'clock, me and the quarterback and receivers are getting together, and we're passing every night. I mean, so that's where you put in the most work.
Guys, wait till it gets cool, right?
No, we'd go in the indoor. We still stay in the indoor.
I mean, it is the summertime. It's pretty.
Usually it's because some guys want to go play a little bit of golf in the middle of the day and come back and do football.
We're willing to take the heat for the golf.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Florida is rushed for 333 yards in 2 games. And this is not the quarterback. Lagway is not a runner. So they have been able to run the football pretty well. But this is a defense that has not allowed a whole lot on the ground. So to me, if you're talking about Florida's strength right now, and I don't think Lagway's been bad, okay, he is expected to be a superstar over there.
I heard a stat. It was more of he's thrown the ball down over 2 or 3 plays over 20 yards so far this season, and that's their big complaint.
Now they've had a very solid running game. Like I said, it's up 5 yards a carry, right at 5 yards a carry. Again, they have not played the toughest of competition. But if you're waiting for Lagway just because you say, "Oh, well, this guy's a super prospect," he's not a runner, okay, which is something that has given LSU fits the running quarterback. He really doesn't do very much of that, and he's, like I said, he looks just a little bit rusty. All that being said, this is a guy that has, I think, elite arm talent.
Yeah.
I think he could put the ball in any window. I love what LSU is doing at the safety position, but this is a guy that's got an arm that's capable of throwing it over your head if you're just the slightest bit off. So to me, he is extremely dangerous, but he is not This is the first time LSU's played Florida in September, since I can remember, okay? Maybe since the Orange Park era. I'd rather play him now than play him in November because I think when Lagway is into a rhythm and he feels healthy, assuming he stays healthy through this gauntlet of a schedule that they have, that he's going to be a lot more dangerous. Right now, he looks like a guy who is still kind of feeling his way back from the injuries.
Very similar to last year. I mean, I felt like he hurt his hamstring early in the year, and then they went on that stretch where they won like 4 or 5 games in a row. Got him back to, was it bowl eligible?
The 2 games that they won that really caught everybody's attention was they beat LSU and they beat Ole Miss, both of which were at home. And Lagway played well. the defense played even better.
Yeah.
I thought that was the real improvement that they made, that they were playing much better defense in November than they were playing earlier in the season. I thought that was a big catalyst for it. All of that, and now we got to talk about Billy Napier a little bit. I don't know if he's going to make it through. Somebody asked me how long do you think he's going to make it. The athletic director has a contract extension now. So he's going to make the call. They're still not dependent on a university president to get involved here. That hasn't been resolved. But Strickland's going to be the guy for the next 5 years, so this is his call now. He doesn't have to wait on the go-ahead from somewhere else. They're putting this in his hands, and it's difficult to see Billy Napier making it through this.
They put a stat up. I'm trying to remember where I read it. And they went over like the last 4 or 5 Florida coaches through 40 games, and Napier's, I think it said 20-20. And all the other coaches were like,
and he's 10-14. He's 10-14 in conference play. That's hard to justify.
He's worse than any coach they've had since he's the worst than Spurrier through 40 games before Spurrier's time.
And it's been a feast or famine deal since I've been covering this stuff. I came in when Spurrier was a coach, and I'll be honest with you, there were days where I didn't know if LSU was ever going to beat the University of Florida again. I've told this story a long time ago, but 1996, we go in there, Jimmy and I go in there to do a show, and Florida had scheduled LSU for homecoming. And there's a parade outside. We're doing a show from a place called Purple Porpoise. They're doing a parade outside. They had Gator Growl, which is this giant pep rally. They had 70,000 people there. They bring the team out. They bring the band out. Chris Rock was there. He was the featured entertainment. And I'll never forget the guy said, you guys going to do the post game here? And, yeah. I said, we're going to come in at halftime and get set up. And, boy, he got real nervous. He said, there's a leave and return policy at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. If we're blowing you guys out at halftime, students don't go back. They just come in here and sit down. It might be harder for you guys to – and LSU had won their first 3 or 4 games at that point, and they were ranked, I think, 12th or 14th in the country. I said, sir, we're LSU. Florida's probably going to win the game and maybe win the game comfortably, but – we're not Eastern Michigan, It's not going to get blown out of halftime. It was 35-6 Florida at halftime, and believe me, they knew who we were when we got in there. It's I think it's the only time we've ever had to cut the post-game show short on account of beer spilling on the equipment. I never thought at that point that I was like, man. And DiNardo had done some really good things at that point. I'm like, whew, I don't know if we'll ever catch Florida again. The next coach there, all the resources, all the talent, all of the everything was just like, oh man, they are playing on another level. And of course, it didn't stay that way. It never stays there. There were days where I wondered if USC was ever going to lose another damn game again when Pete Carroll was there. Everything will eventually run its course. But since Spurrier, Ron Zook, Will Muschamp,
better record,
Jim
better
McElwain,
better record.
Dan Mullen, and Dan Mullen is it's a curious case. You automatically, well, if he can win at Mississippi State, he can win at Florida. No, he didn't. It's a different animal. And Mullen got lazy in recruiting. He's now making kind of a comeback, and a lot of people.
Mullen's never been a big recruiter. He's taken 2- and 3-star guys and gotten the best out of them, and that's not going to work at Florida.
No, it's not. And he didn't recruit it as high a level. He may make it back through this UNLV job to a bigger job. He's only 53 years old, so there's room for a second act. But what I'm saying is these coaches, you hired Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, who if you took about the top 10 coaches over the last 50 years of college football, these two guys, no, they're not in the top 10. They're in the top 5.
Yeah,
I mean, they're in the top 5. So what's up with this program where all of these other coaches, it has taken an elite coach, not a good coach, an elite coach.
Yeah.
To win there. I've changed my mind on a lot of things about the University of Florida in the last 15 years, and I still think it is potentially the best job in the country because you're in the SEC and you got the state of Florida.
No.
But I don't know if they've got the funding to. Anytime
they get it, like you said.
And they should have all the funding anybody could ever want, but I don't know if they do.
No, it's that's the one place I never won at. They won 2 national championships when I was in school. That was the Urban Meyer era, and I hate them. I mean, they just had a lot. When you can recruit the way Urban Meyer recruited, I mean, I remember playing those games. Everybody played in the NFL. I mean, the whole roster. You had your Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, Major Wright, Joe Hayden at the corner, Carlos Dunlap. You can just go down. Like that whole roster played in the league, and they were furious. I mean, you got to have a coach that can relate to them. I think is the biggest thing. Like I hated when Urban Meyer let Brandon Spikes punt the ball in the student section after an end zone and then chest bump him midway. Like, we weren't used to that. We did that, we'd have been sent to the locker room. When he gets with those type of guys, man, they're dangerous.
You guys are. I did a show last night with my friend Tony Tagliavore in Shreveport, and he says, I never really hear from people when they talk about the big LSU rivalries, that Florida may stay on as one of the permanent opponents. And I said, well, I work with three guys that would tell you that Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn, and Richard Dixon would all tell you, because you guys were in the absolute height of the Urban Meyer era. But the difference was the height of the Spurrier era, LSU never didn't really have a roster that could compete year in year out. They got him in 97, but that was the one time they got him. And if Spurrier's ego wouldn't have gotten the best of them that night and they'd have run Fred Taylor a little bit more, it would have been a lot harder for LSU to win that game. It wasn't even. But when Meyer was there and Miles was here, well, now we got a fair fight. In
my 4 years, they won 2 national championships. We won 1.
Yeah, and that was the game. Hasn't been the game. And honestly, this is probably the last year that Florida will be a permanent opponent for LSU. Doesn't mean you're never going to see them again. You're going to see them 2 times every 4 years, but they're extremely unlikely. I would fall on the floor shocked if they remained a permanent opponent for LSU the way they have been since 1992. And really before that, but the current structure of the league. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up here at Ruffino's. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Ruffino's. All right, Rich. I can't let an LSU-Florida game go by without just getting a sentence or two about the 07 game. We watched the game Saturday night. I ended up watching the second half at some friend's house, and I was getting ready to leave for post game, so I says, "What are you going to say?" And I said, "I'm going to say, well, it's of all the games I've ever watched, this ain't going to make the top 5." And then somebody said, "Well, what did make your top 5?" And so of course that took 20 minutes. I said, "Well, the 2007 LSU Florida games in the top end of all games in that stadium that I've seen."
There's no dead serious chills thinking about what makes that game crazy, and you're so locked into so many games. Like a lot of them, you don't remember really the walk down the hill or anything. You're just kind of in your head. And I remember getting off the bus, and it was like the static electricity, like the hairs on your arm were raised. Yeah. You couldn't see. Like as far as you could see was just fans. Like it was just a wave of LSU fans. It's the most electric feeling walk that I ever had. Like you really just soaked it in. Like this is SEC football. This is what we came here for. And like the game to me is a flash. I remember some big plays. I remember a lot of I remember getting my head knocked off of Major Wright. But
Hester got him back for you.
Yeah, Hester got him back pretty good for me. But like when you say that game, the first thing I think of is like when I stepped off the bus and just the wave of people I saw.
Yeah.
And the like you couldn't hear anything. You couldn't. I can't even talk. Like it was insane. I mean, that's the first thing I remember is stepping off the bus and I was like, This is insane.
Don't know that I've ever seen a better football game in the stadium, and I've seen plenty. Yeah, that one was really special. One for the books. All right, what do we expect? What do you expect tomorrow night?
Man, I think that the defense comes out and plays strong. Want to see the offense get going. I kind of got in my head it's a 24-10, 24-13 game.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I hope that the offense responds. I really feel like the defense is going to be able to get after Lagway a little bit. That they're going to be able to put some pressure on him, and especially if he's in a situation where Florida has to come from behind, I think that they can really put a lot of heat on him.
We got a lot of meatheads on this defense. I mean, these guys love
That's an endearing term, right? For defensive guys.
They love to bash their heads together. You get that group of guys, talking trash and getting Jack Pyburn going. And, I can just see that locker room, like how they're trying to hype each other up and let's go out there and take one. I think they come out on fire.
Well, it's going to be great. Pregame will start at 1:30, and we'll go. You'll be with us for a portion of that, and then all the way behind the game, an hour and a half after on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Rich, appreciate it, man. Go Lions!
Oh yeah,
your Lions, your team. We're brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and heating, generators, electricity, plumbing. One-stop shop for all of these needs since 1980. Their slogan's been service today, every day, so nobody ever has to go to sleep hot. They've expanded into New Orleans, full staff in both New Orleans and Baton Rouge. An authorized dealer for Carrier, American, Standard, Daikin, and Rheem AC units. Generac Cummings generators for all of your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, it's 480-1000 in New Orleans, 841-3300 service today, every day at Total Maintenance. All right, Jimmy joins the show when we come back. Chris Massaro will be with us today, as well as Troy Macker, Bruce Marshall, plus our picks as we get into the football weekend. Football Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments here at Ruffino's in the newly remodeled bar. Live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And you remember you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com. Supporting Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. Go to SupremeRice.com. Jimmy, how are you?
Great, Charlie. How about you?
You want to get in the camera shot?
Yeah, I'm going to get to it in a second.
Okay.
The viewers can wait a second, so it's okay.
The Thursday night game, we thought we were going to get a really good game. Two playoff teams from a year ago, two good quarterbacks, two teams that have Super Bowl aspirations this year. And what we got was an ass-kicking. Green Bay handled Washington. Don't let that score in any way mislead you to thinking that this was a close game at any point. Green Bay did last night.
I was at 7 points in the fourth quarter.
But I have no idea because Green Bay, I thought, at one point they had 10 times as many yards as Washington and a 7-0 lead.
Snaps, what percentage snaps, and not fourth down, but first or third that Parsons played?
I don't have that number in front of me. He was in and out of the game the whole night.
Right.
You certainly noticed when he was there. I don't have the
It's more than the first game, and it'll probably increase, but damn, they're suffocated.
And it was more. And he was obviously, when he's on the field, but man, it was more than just him. First of all, Washington had no running game, and that included Jaden Daniels, who, when he tried to get loose, they even ran a couple of design runs for him, those things that he usually has room to operate, even if he doesn't have great blocking. He makes somebody miss or outrun somebody. That wasn't there. Their downfield passing game was not there at all. They forced him to check everything down. He had his average yards per attempt last year was 7.2. Okay, and it was last week as well against the Giants. It was 4.8 in this game, and it was just he was protected enough to be able to take some shots down the field, but those receivers were not there, and so more often he just chose to check it down because that's all that was available to him for a lot of this game. The Green Bay offense was good. I mean, Washington didn't cover the tight end all night, the first string or the second string tight end, and Josh Jacobs had a reasonable game. But to me, the story of this game was Green Bay's defense was suffocating.
I thought both sides. I mean, with the first two touchdown drives were like 95 and 94 yards.
Yeah,
they
ain't covered the tight end yet.
You can't have it. But and even when Daniels had completed some passes, like, damn, did he get it in there? I mean, they were blanketed.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just
those balls. I know. You're talking about those balls over the middle. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just he didn't have a chance. So, but how much do we want a good game here, and how much is just the old Thursday night angle? Home team.
Yeah, I can't dispute that. That's
So how much of that? Is it Daniels a sophomore slump, or is it Washington a sophomore? Kind of, a little bit of. I like them as a shot to win it all. Because if they pulled off the Green Bay, they won last night. You weren't going to get those odds anymore. Well, you're fine now. That was a miss, but just some things going to. What Thursday night? That home team's hard to beat.
They are, but with their first game performance against Detroit, and then this.
Oh, these are two highly respected offenses that they have completely shut down.
Yeah, I didn't come out of this game thinking any less of Daniels in Washington. I came out of this game thinking a lot more of Green Bay because not just the Parsons element to this thing. Jimmy, I think this passing game is going to get better. Jordan Love missed 2 deep balls. One to Matthew Golden, that's a 80-yard touchdown or whatever it was.
Well, he'll miss from time to time. He's
but he's going to hit some too.
Yeah, he can make all the throws. Yeah. He can move. He's their guy. They were able to kind of be patient with him. Remember when they threw him in like against Kansas City and some early? It was ugly. So Green Bay's got the recipe. Rodgers waited. He was more prepared and it was better. And same thing with Love because, man, Love. Where do you rank him? I don't know, 8 to 10. Top 10 fringe.
Top 10, 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but this Parsons thing, Charlie, you're stat. Number one offense in the league with him in the game and dead last without him.
when
can't
he's
get more
out
extreme. And did you see the post game interview?
I didn't. I went to bed. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see the post game.
So they had, I think it was Jacobs first, and this was a good 45 minutes after the conclusion of the game. Here comes Parsons, and he sits next to Whitworth. And he had called Whitworth previously about a year or two ago and kind of said, "Hey, man, I want to pick your brain. I want to know I want to find out what the tackles are thinking, and I respect you a lot." And Whitworth said, "Man, I'll take the next flight. This is an honor." And so they went and worked together. So they had a little.
That's kind of cool.
That's
very cool.
But then he said, "This is 45 minutes to an hour after the game." He goes, "I'm pissed off."
Parsons?
Yes.
About what?
The way the thing was handled. He's got a chip on his shoulder, bro.
Yeah.
And he's that good and pissed off. Right. Now, Green Bay needs to get some personnel. When you're a football player, you have to get hyped up. You have to get hyped, but you got to turn it off. He may need extra security just to cool them down. He may need a 24-hour period.
Well, they go to Dallas in 2 weeks.
Because if he gets pulled over by the Louisville police, some kind of way.
They go to Dallas in 2 weeks, right?
Oh, he's going to wreck house, Jack.
I know.
He is going to. He's really good to begin with, and he's pissed, man. He is. What's his odds to be Defensive Player of the Year? He's got to be the favorite. It's just a really. They look dangerous all of a sudden. That defense was suffocating. I want to guard myself because we have seen a lot of times in this Thursday night matchup where the road team is just at a disadvantage.
Sure.
So it's part of the equation. Part of it too is I don't think Daniels is going to have. Now there's a lot of people that there's C.J. Stroud. This is going to happen this year. I don't think that's going to happen, but they might not have the year they had. They might not even make the playoffs. But the Giants, I think, as bad as they were, they're improved from last year. And I'm not going to, Wilson was bad, okay, but, man, they just dominated the Giants. In the first week, there was a lot of close games. And so it was, man, is the gap between, the Giants and the Packers that much? Is it part of Thursday night? Is it part? I don't know, but Green Bay has to be taken seriously at the top of the NFC because I didn't see what I wanted to see if I'm an Eagles fan from that defense with some of their losses. Dallas only stopped themselves.
They did, but they ran the football so well in the absence of Jalen Carter. I want to take that into account. He didn't play in this game, and Dallas.
No. Of course, you can't forget. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, but still, okay. Jalen Carter's not on the field every play. They only. Okay, so I get that, but man, Green Bay. This Parsons, man, he is he is ready to wreck house, man. Did you see Daniels? I mean, he was like, Daniels was like, he's kind of like this happy-go-lucky kind of, like, man, when he was here, like, man, would this guy care? He needs to care more and stuff like that. And he would, like, tap, pat Parsons on the back, like, kind of, man, you got me kind of deal. Parsons, he ain't having any of it, dude. He is dialed in, Jack.
Parsons is the favorite at plus 475 if he'd be Defensive Player of the Year. By the way,
second choice. What's the gap?
Myles Garrett at 6-1, so not a huge gap there.
Well, he's pretty damn good, too.
For what it's worth, the rookie right tackle from Oregon, Josh Connolly Jr., had a terrible night against not just him, but Rashawn Gary as well. So it was a rough night for the O-line of the Commanders.
Well, and Tunsil's playing left?
Yes.
Yeah.
Green Bay has one home game between now and November. They play 4 of their next 5 they open up with 2 at home. So they play 4 of their next 5 on the road. So we'll see. Now, it's not a murderous row. They play the Browns and Cardinals, but they also play the Cowboys and Steelers. And then they play the Bengals in the one home game. So they're going to be gone from Green Bay for most of the next 6 weeks.
Detroit lost their center. They lost their offense coordinator.
Yeah.
But, man, come on. They're still going to be they're going to be one of the better offenses, don't you think? Washington is not clicking on all cylinders just yet, even with the Giants game. Yeah. But they got to be. Who was the right tackle last year? I mean, where they have to play a rookie, in week 2.
Well, they drafted him to kind of ease him into the lineup.
Well, if he's playing immediately, that ain't easy.
He was a first-round pick out of Oregon, and they wanted to ease him into the lineup, and probably just not. He ain't ready to block Micah Parsons, I can tell you.
Well, they didn't light it up against the Giants either.
Yeah.
They didn't. I mean, it wasn't these chunk plays left and right like we saw last year with Daniels. So
Jaden Reed did break his collarbone last night, and they won't be getting Christian Watson back from his torn ACL until probably November.
I think Matthew Golden is a deep threat for them. Now he missed him on the ball last night, but if you're looking for a deep threat, I think Golden is it.
Can I guard the tight end?
Didn't play that much. He's going to have to get elevated.
He's going to have. No, you're right. With Reed out, he's going to have to play more, but. He had a very good camp. They like what they saw in camp.
I agree with you, Charlie. I don't know how that game was a one-score game at one point. Now, Green Bay went down the field and extended it, immediately. But, I mean, that was way worse than the final score.
Yeah. And
way worse.
I've never seen Daniels at the pro level quite bottled up the way they did with him.
Well, no receivers. Nobody was open.
Right. And when he tried to run, ordinarily – Daniels will, if that offense gets bogged down a little bit, he'll run, and he's almost unstoppable when he does. They try not to do it too much because they don't want to get him hurt. But we saw that all last year.
There were really no design runs last night.
There were a couple.
There were a couple.
Oh, yeah, there were a couple. And there just wasn't a lot of room for him. He made a few yards, but not the big plays that you used to see.
The yards
him.
were tough, man.
They were very tough to come by. Then they lose Austin Eckler, which doesn't help.
Yeah, so do you wish you would have kept Robinson? I mean, it's different. Back, they kind of compare the other two. They thought that, Robinson and the rookie from Arizona were kind of the same. But, damn, you're losing some touches now in the rushing game.
I think they moved Robinson because they didn't want to pay him, and they thought Krosky Merritt could be him. So
he could have played this year, but they didn't have to pay him after the year, though.
He could, right. And they just figured they were going to get something for him while they could rather than have him walk in the offseason for nothing because they didn't want to pay him. He's not really what Eckler did. Eckler catches the ball very well. He's their best receiving back. So I don't know.
I'm just saying they're different backs.
If they could have him back today, yes, I'm sure they would. They made an organizational decision.
So who was the right tackle last year? Put his ass back in there. Let the rookie stew a little bit. If he's not ready, you can't throw him out there.
I don't think their plan coming out of camp somebody got hurt. I don't think their plan was to start Connolly this early in the season. But I'm not that
first round pick. Playing right tackle, he kind of
expected.
Aren't you expected to play?
Yes, but he was running second team for a reason. And
they were picking probably, 28, 29? He
was in the 20s.
Well, they were the Final Four. So
he was 20-something. Connolly was not a reach. He was somebody that they thought of as a first-round pick.
There are guys that are slotted there that just aren't that good
29,
all the time.
29. I don't remember who was playing right tackle for them.
It was Andrew Wiley.
Where's he at? Is he on the roster?
Formerly
he'd be playing right now for me.
Well,
Andrew Wiley is, I guess, still with the team.
Yeah, he may have been hurt. I don't know, but Green Bay's defense is really good, and their offense is really good.
Would you pick Green Bay right now as you pick to win the NFC?
Yes.
They moved Wiley in the right guard.
Max?
The Packers?
To win the NFC?
Yes. I bet on it before the season.
I don't think their roster is any better than Philadelphia's, but it's at least as good. And I'm going to bet on the Philly hangover.
I just have more faith in Jalen Hurts than you guys, so I'm sticking with you.
I'm going to go with the hangover for Philadelphia, eventually catching up to them.
Let's go with our friends over here at Ruffino's. In addition to our regular Friday lunch, man, it's Florida weekend. It's going to be popping over here all weekend long. The Alligator Arancini with creamy risotto, Italian cheese blend with the green onion aioli, whipped ricotta with the toasted pine nuts, basil oil, za'atar, focaccia. An entree features the featured steak. It's a coffee and ancho rubbed hanger steak with the papas bravas, sautéed green beans, aji verde. The wine pairing, suggested wine pairing, is a Felino by Paul Hobbs to Malbec from Argentina. The seared scallops is another entree feature this weekend with the sweet corn risotto, chorizo. That's a little Mexican sausage at chale. Crispy leeks, the suggested wine pairing, is a Peugeot Chardonnay out of Napa Valley. And our dessert feature all weekend, the praline tiramisu. Look, South Louisiana in Italy, all wrapped into one. Ladyfinger soaked with sweet milk, creamy custard, salted caramel, pecan and rolled oats crisp. Yeah, we got beverage features like the raspberry limonada, the cocoa martini, the mannequin by Orange Swift, and the Blanc Stare by Orange Swift. So Orange Swift was the wines that they were pouring for the Eat the Competition theme dinner to kick off the LSU football season over here. Really nice stuff.
Live at
Lock of the week.
Presented by Tech Morris and Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's go out to the West Coast, Pacific Beach or Las Vegas. Where are you now? Mr. Chris Macero, you in Vegas? You're in San Diego.
No, I'm in San Diego. Thanks for having me on. Next week we'll be live from Vegas, but this week we're just at the humble abode in Pacific Beach, San Diego.
Okay, Max, give us a recap. 8 college contributors. What was our collective record last week?
Pretty damn good, 25-13.
25-13. Wow. So how many of us were over 500?
7
winning weeks. 7 of the 8. Macero, you got to pick it up.
I begged him not to do this, Chris. I begged him not to do this.
Chris?
Hey, it's okay. You know, we go outside the box. We don't pick all favorites like the rest of you guys. That must be what it is. No. Hey, listen. I had Cincinnati in my own personal wager last week at -18. The line closed at 24. And the aforementioned Drew Pine, which I said he liked to stay at Bowling Green just for the co-ed lifestyle, he looked like Tom Brady in the second half. He was slicing and dicing down the field. I couldn't stop him. So Bowling Green almost made my card this week. Drew Pine was pretty impressive in the second half. And my closing line value of 6 points went to die. So what can you do?
I think he had 14 straight completions at one point.
Did he really?
Yeah, I did not expect that. I was on Cincinnati
So
as well.
is Drew Prine going to get the Graham Mertz Award for a guy that really sucked for an extended period of time and was really good when he got going? What's that?
I wouldn't count on it.
No? Chris?
Well, I don't know. I almost, like I said, I kind of like Bowling Green this week. Line opened at 7.5, 8. It's down to 5.5 now against a Liberty team that's very overrated. Had struggled last week, and I just feel like maybe this Liberty squad is one of those teams in the mid-major area that gets a lot of hype because of the name recognition, but they're just not the same team they used to be. I didn't play. I'm not going to play it in the contest here today, but I do lean to Drew Pine and Bowling Green and the Eddie George-led team there.
All right. When do we play Vandy, Charlie? Is that next week?
No,
2 weeks?
November.
No,
October 16th. I will be in attendance.
Yeah, that's when I was. Okay, I didn't know how soon it was when you were going to do that double dip. So, what is the? Do we have a line on whether they run out of beer in the stadium with the LSU
Stadium?
fans? No.
Oh, at Vanderbilt?
Yeah, which they did last time. First half.
They ran out of vodka too. They couldn't make any more screwdrivers.
Chris, Mike Palm is still laughing about that. How about the LSU fans came to Las Vegas and says, "Oh, are y'all going to run out of alcohol?" This is not Vanderbilt concessions.
There's a renovation been done at the Vanderbilt Stadium, so I anticipate plenty of libations.
Well, Diego Vanderbilt is doing it by himself, and we'll get to that in just a second. Well, let's start with that game. That was impressive. Down 10 at the break. Blacksburg, Lane Stadium. It could be a tough place to play. Now, Virginia Tech is down. There's no doubt about it right now, but 34-0 second half. I was on Virginia Tech. I had the loser in that one, and Diego Pavia, man, he's doing what things we just didn't think was possible at Vanderbilt now. You like him as well this week.
Yeah, I like Vandy. Last week I was watching that game. You could kind of see the tide turning around halftime. They were plus 396 to win the game. I actually jumped on it. It's not a big bet. And what they did was just downright unbelievable. 5 straight second-half touchdown possessions. I'm not sure if Virginia Tech quit or what exactly happened there, but, I mean, for a team to go up and down the field like they did, and I expect Vanderbilt to score again this week. We've talked about this Gamecocks defense. They've lost a lot to the NFL, and their offense hasn't been that impressive. Sellers is only 23 for 38, 337 yards in 2 games, only 2 touchdowns. He does have a rushing touchdown. I'm just not sure they can do much. And the common opponent, again, like we just discussed, Virginia Tech, they struggled mightily versus Virginia Tech. There were benefits of two interceptions by the Virginia Tech quarterback. And what Vandy did last week is just light years above what South Carolina did. Granted, this is a home game for South Carolina, but it's also a revenge game for Vanderbilt. I played it earlier at 6. I still like it at 3.5. It even opened at 8 at some places. I had a friend of mine who got it at 7 plus big money. So I really think Vandy has a live shot to win this game. I know it's a trendy dog, and I know Pavia has been a trendy dog a lot in this year and last year. But I mean, the guy keeps on winning. He's got some crazy, ridiculous against the spread numbers. 4 wins as a dog of 7 or more. The guy's just a winner. I don't know what to tell you. And they're well coached. And I like Vanderbilt to win this game. And any points you can grab, I endorse that.
Pavia in Sellers. Pavia has more passing yards. He has more passing TDs. He has more rushing yards. The only thing he doesn't have that Sellers has is a rushing TD. He has 1. But, I mean, and the teams that score more, 89 compared to 62, which Sellers. I love Sellers. We like him, but I don't think he's improved one bit as a passer. And Pavia. And how about that, the odds? I pulled this up off for Bet Rivers. Sellers is 20-1, Pavia 150-1. I understand it's hard for a Vanderbilt quarterback to win it, but damn, I'm on Vanderbilt on that one as well. All right, the Delaware Blue Hens next up on the list here. Let's what you smelling with Delaware is working? And against UConn.
Yeah, just a really weird scheduling spot for UConn. They had the heartbreaking overtime loss against Syracuse, which is also a bad beat if you had +6 or +6.5. Goes into overtime. They lose by 7. I mean, they blew a 17-6 lead midway through the third. They tied the game with 6 seconds left on a last-second field goal, only to lose by 7 in overtime. So, tough loss for UConn. Now they got to do a sleepy road trip down to Delaware. And Delaware, they beat Delaware State the first week. They lost to Colorado in a deceiving score, 31-7. But if you look at the stats, and I watched this game, for some reason it was the main game on Fox. Delaware had the same amount of yards, 396 to 398 for the Buffaloes. First downs, 19-21. They had 312 yards passing, led by their quarterback, Nick Minicucci. And I like a team that can run up big plays. They had several big plays against the Buffaloes defense, 67, 45, 31, and 28. And getting 10.5 at home with a team that can move the ball, especially against a UConn team that gave up 417 yards passing to Syracuse last week. Give me the Blue Hens plus the points.
Yeah, I like to include in turnover margin also the fourth down conversions. So if, Delaware had 2 more failed fourth downs than Colorado, added with the 2 turnovers this year, that's a 4-0. That's a 4-0 basically turnover margin. So that was a big difference in that Colorado-Delaware game. You're right. The total yards, 398 to 396. One question before we leave that. Any of those yards in garbage time, Chris, since you were watching it?
No, this was a game where they continually drove down to the red zone and either turned it over or, like you mentioned, didn't get it on fourth down. It was a very frustrating game. If you had Delaware plus 24, you ended up with a push. But Delaware was moving the ball all game versus the Buffaloes.
Alabama in Wisconsin. The return trip. Bama smoked them last year in Madison. Wisconsin now. There may be a backup quarterback as well. I think that's happening. You're looking on the under here. Why?
Yeah, glutton for punishment. I played this game under last year. Some early first and second quarter turnovers by Wisconsin just led to some quick scores for Bama. It was a slow-paced game, but I expect a slower-paced game this week. Last week in Whiskey's win versus Middle Tennessee State, they only ran 57 plays, so I expect them to keep the tight to the vest, try to slow this game down, limited possessions. Not a big fan of Danny O'Neill. He's the transfer that came from San Diego State to Wisconsin. He did have 3 touchdowns last week, but against really bad competition. I can't get out of my head how bad Wisconsin was trying to move the ball against Miami of Ohio. And this Alabama offense, they are getting back. They're supposed to get back Brian Williams, but I'm just not sure how explosive they're going to be against this Wisconsin defense. Granted, versus a weak schedule, but they've held opponents to just 10 points this year. I just expect a low-scoring game, maybe something like 31-10. 31-7. I don't expect Wisconsin to score much, and I think Wisconsin's defense is strong enough to keep this game under.
All right, next, Duke and Tulane, the Darian Mensah return, homecoming. That Duke-Illinois game, you talk about 6 if you count the 5-0 turnover margin and another failed fourth down attempt for the Blue Devils. Illinois is good, but not as good as that final score, and Duke certainly isn't as bad as that final score as well.
Yeah, the Duke offense was moving the ball up and down the field, 356 yards total passing. Mensah was not the problem, 23 for 34 with 334. The problem was the drops, the penalties, the turnovers, the muff punt. And if you look on the flip side, Duke just couldn't get off the field on fourth down, 2 for 2 for Illinois, 5 for 13 on third down, and there was some big third downs, third and long. Just very uncharacteristic for a Manny Diaz defense. Now, listen, the run defense is strong, but the pass defense, guys are running wide open. That Beatty kid was wide open all day, 8 catches, big yards there for him. So I noticed that Tulane last week ran the ball 45 times. I don't think they're going to do that this week against Duke. I think they're going to flip the script. Last week they had 27 passes, 45 rushes. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more this week because that's what the problem is in the Duke secondary. Guys are running wide open. So I can see this game. I don't think Duke's going to have trouble moving the ball. And I think that Tulane under Getzlaff's going to be throwing it a little bit more. This is going to be a hot, steamy night in New Orleans. I can see a track meet. I like over in this game, over 53.5.
All right, 52.5 right now at DraftKings, so even better on that
Even better.
one. Georgia, Tennessee. This line has moved a lot of Tennessee support to this point. You're looking at the total, which is 50.5 right now.
Yeah, in the last 4 meetings, Tennessee just really hasn't been able to muster much offense, and I feel like they've had better offenses than this team. Last time they had 17, the year before 10, 13, 17. So for whatever reason, Tennessee is just not able to move the ball well against Georgia. Obviously, Georgia has a stout defense every year. I'm not expecting many explosive plays from Georgia either, as they've had all sorts of problems on the offensive line using max protection just to keep Gunnar Stockton upright. So I think this is going to be a lot of running. I think the Georgia defense is going to shut down Aguilar. He's had a tendency to have a lot of high throws. He seems to be comfortable in the Tennessee offense, but I'm just not sure against a stout defense like Georgia. I like this game to be a little bit lower scoring than usual. It was 31-17 last year. It went over by 1 point. So we got 50, 50.5, 49.5. I like this game to stay under the total.
All right, and we got some Lanyap picks here. I love Florida plus 7. It's down to 7 now after that push to 9 and adjustment to 9.5 after they lost to South Florida. But Pros versus Joes is what Colucci told us over at the Rampart in Florida, +7. A&M +6.5, and Happy Valley. See if the Aggies could be doing those cheers in the bleachers today at Wrigley Field. Bowling Green, Drew Pine again. And how about Boston College? Bill O'Brien, when he was at Alabama, he was bullish on his quarterback and recruited him there. He's got one now up at Boston College. Quick hitters on your lanyard picks this week.
Yeah, it is. The BC, I mean, they're playing Stanford. Stanford's not going to score many points. The one problem I just have in this game is the tackling on Boston College was so atrocious against Michigan State. I mean, they played a great game, but to go into East Lansing and score 40 points like they did, very impressive. The quarterback transfer from Alabama, I was saying to a couple buddies of mine, like, maybe Alabama kept the wrong quarterback. You know, this kid's looking really sharp, runs a good offense at BC, pro style. Guys are wide open. I just think they're going to score too much for Stanford. Yeah, the Florida. Hey, this is like Florida. This is it right now. They gotta show up. I don't think they'll lay a dud again. It's getting some points, rivalry game. LSU's offense hasn't been as strong as we might expect. And like I mentioned, I like that Drew Pine played really well, and getting points against Liberty at home, not a bad idea. And the last one, Texas A&M. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that Notre Dame is this big a favorite. I'm not sure how good that kid's car is going to be. Very, very good defense and offensive line for A&M. Should be an exciting game to watch. I'd like the points, though.
Dylan Lonergan, 76% of his passes, 8 TDs, 0 interceptions, thrown for 329 a game right now for the Eagles of Boston College. I'm telling you this week, no pressure. Let's go. Let's get some winners. Good luck.
I got to get over 500. Let's make it happen.
I like your explanation. Good spot today. We'll talk to you on Sunday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company, servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you get when you call 296-0060. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Collada, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060. Lock of the week.
Presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Rufino's. Come by. The restaurant's now open for lunch. It's a newly renovated bar.
Man, looks sharp. Looks sharp. Yes, indeed. Florida weekend, and, just a little extra juice over here, man. Everybody going to come. This is a massive Friday night. The night with a primetime game. So no dinner and no dinner reservations for everybody going to Tiger Stadium tomorrow. They're going to be over here at Rufino's, so it's always popping over here. All right, let's check into the Commanders' watch party. See if give us the mood.
A little rough
what did Nick Saban call us over here at the time? Catastrophe syndrome.
Yeah.
Has catastrophe syndrome set up in the what is the DMV? Huh?
Yeah. No. It's the concern heater is it's a little warm. I think the biggest takeaway is, my gosh, Green Bay looks very complete now. Only two teams have a sample size more than one game thus far. The Packers and the Commanders. The Packers' defense looks so good. I mean, they held the two high-scoring offenses in the NFC last year, the Lions and the Commanders, to 13 and 18 points respectively. I thought Michael Parsons had a great quote after the game, and he's like, one of the best things about this situation to come to Green Bay is I don't have to spend any emotional pressure or stress or overload on trying to bring this defense up to my level because they're already there. So I can come in and just do my thing. And it showed last night. I mean, even the offense was crisp. It's not, knock your socks off, but it's fast. They look very fast. The Commanders just got beat by a better team. This happened last year. They went on the road against a playoff team in the Buccaneers and got their break beat off. Came back in the fourth quarter, made it a little tight. The biggest concern, honestly, is the injury. There's always a concern with Austin Eckler. I was never super thrilled with the running back room, and now he seems to be out for a very long time more this season. Starting defensive tackle and Dietrich Wise, I think he had an Achilles sprain. Your third wide receiver in and Noah Brown, he got banged up. So Jaden Daniels didn't have his best game, but he didn't have any turnovers. The Packers had the right scenario to contain him and control him, and he missed some passes, frankly, that he should have made. So it sucks. Losing sucks, but and losing on primetime sucks. But I don't think there's as much panic as you might expect, solely because the Packers played so well, and we know they're going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, one of the best teams in the NFL, and their defense looks to be the best defense in the NFL. Having said all of that, it is an overreaction still because only 2 teams have played more than 1 game.
Is Krosky Merritt a lead back, or do they have to go out and find somebody now? Because he's kind of it right now with what they got on the roster.
Yeah, so they'll bring Chris Rodriguez up from the practice squad, and he played in several games last year and the year prior. I think he's pretty good, but the issue with Merritt is, or Bill, as they call him down here, is that he's kind of fragile too. He had to get looked at in every one of the preseason games and even one of their joint practices. He's not a big guy. He didn't play at all last year. So you think maybe he's healthier, or the ring rust, so to speak, is going to get to him. But they were fine in the offseason when guys were available. J.K. Dobbins or even Nick Chubb, take a flyer on him. They didn't do any of that because they were very confident, and they were very confident even after trading for Brian Robinson, who's actually probably now in a better spot because of all the injuries that the 49ers are facing.
Troy, looking at your notes that you sent in, this is nothing, but, the 4 touchdown favorites are some of the biggest. They bet them. They lay Illinois minus 27.5 against Western Michigan, Oregon minus 28.5 against Northwestern, Missouri minus 27 against ULL, Ohio State minus 29 against Ohio. The only one in there, it's a somewhat normal, Navy minus 14 at Tulsa. So, boy, the general public just does not bat an eye with the point spreads in some of these lopsided matchups.
Yeah, I think the top 2, honestly, are a little bit skewed because of the teams involved, and that's Illinois and Northwestern, both Illinois colleges, and you cannot bet on in-state teams in the state of Illinois using online. And this information was solely online sports betting, not retail. But I would also say that on the same side, Oregon minus 28.5 is no one's batting an eye at. And so even if there's no one in Illinois betting on that, I love Oregon minus 28.5. Certainly it's on the road. It's in the Midwest. They don't have a bad team coming to them, but they blew the brakes off of Oregon State last year. I don't think Northwestern is that much better than Oregon State. Or not Oregon State, Oklahoma State, excuse me. So, Navy, I think it's, they haven't looked like, a group of 5 world beaters, but Tulsa stinks. Tulsa's very bad. So I agree with that. But the interesting thing is the percentages are really high on a Friday. Games kick off tomorrow. Usually these percentages should be a couple around 80. And I really, try to look at if there's, $100 on one side and $10 on the other, in a low major. I don't include those because the sample size is big enough. So these are all fairly well backed plays. Ohio State minus 29 versus Ohio. I don't know if I trust that. Certainly Ohio State's offense is getting better and better, but Ohio beat West Virginia, who I don't think is very good, but they beat a power conference team. So 84% seems a little bit high to me, but, they're the number 1 team in the country, and I think they blanked whoever they played last week, scored 66 points or something. So I can see why some of these are the way they are.
What were the highlights, the strongest opinions on the 10, on you guys' Big Ten, picks and analysis show with Doug Kazarian and Greg Waddell?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest ones was actually for tonight, and it's UCLA and New Mexico. New Mexico had a little friskiness against Michigan, and they were pretty decent in their other games, certainly not of the level of UCLA, but UCLA is, this thing is heading towards disaster, code red. The quarterback who is highly polarizing the offseason because of his decision to get in a bidding war at the school he was at and then left and said he wanted to play at UCLA because it was better for him. The head coach is kind of on the hot seat already, and they have underperformed in the first 2 games. This seems like Ben Howland era UCLA basketball, where they start the season off with 3 losses to Big Sky and Big West teams. So that was one that we had a lot of thoughts on as well. And, the other one was Wisconsin, Alabama, whether or not 21.5 is too much. Alabama looked much better in last week, and Wisconsin is not, the good but slow-paced Wisconsin team we think of in the past. It's a not very good Wisconsin team. Is 21.5 too much? I think it is, but I'm very out on Wisconsin, the team I'm typically very in on.
Chip Kelly kind of left UCLA in a trick bag, leaving kind of late in early 2024, and so they had to go with Deshaun Foster. But and look, Nico's not real good. So I mean, when he wanted more money, man, bro, you keep coming back. You gotta play a little bit better than what you've done. Troy, give me an outside opinion on this Florida LSU line. So this was 7 last week before Saturday's results. LSU, Louisiana Tech, Florida, South Florida. It was adjusted to 9.5. That's what it opened up. There's some sharp money. And buddy Dwayne Colucci at the Rampart told us yesterday, said, no, this is a pros versus Joes. The walk-ups, the recreational players are playing LSU minus the points. The sharp action, the respected guys that they have are playing Florida. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't know. Shame on LSU in a revenge spot with a better roster. I mean, if they in a spot where Brian Kelly is in a spot where he is favored, Charlie, by 6 or more, which this falls into that category. It's won his last 42. So that's a pretty good run. Your thoughts, though? Maybe I'm wrong, Troy.
Yeah, so, this is a game kind of like the Clemson-Georgia Tech game, where one team has been playing well, the other team, high expectations, has not been playing well. I think Clemson caught a lucky break with the rain delay versus Troy. Florida, we all know. This is heading towards potential disaster, and LSU has looked good, maybe not great, but good. And so I want to be easily on LSU minus 7 because do we think Florida's going to get it right? I don't think so. But it's interesting, they're LSU to cover is right outside the top 5 in most money across all bets. And they're top 10 in strength of spread bets and spread tickets. I think spread handle and spread bets. I think there's a little bit shorter of a percentage on the money because there is some sharp money on Florida. But I couldn't bet on Florida this week against an in-conference opponent who's doing as well as they are.
Try about 30 seconds. Your top 3 picks this week in college football.
Oh, that is a great question. So I really like Pittsburgh minus 6.5 at West Virginia. I do like Georgia Tech plus 3.5 versus Clemson. And as I already mentioned, Oregon minus 27.5 at Northwestern. I got these earlier before they widened a little bit. So, I think Pittsburgh may be down shorter than 6, but I did.
No, it's 7.5 now everywhere.
Oh,
it's
is?
7.
Okay.
Yeah. Georgia Tech is at 3. Right now.
Yep.
So, but we got it. We got to follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macher. That's MACHIR. Everything's going to be all right, okay? Daniel's not going to fall into a sophomore slump. It's going to be all right. It's going to be good. Troy, thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. You can contact our great team of bankers at United Community Bank. Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. We can stop on by and visit any of those and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Max, give us that stat on DJ Lagway.
In his career against FBS opponents, 10 touchdowns, 10 receptions. That's taken out 2 games if you include Long Island this year and Sanford last year, where he had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions in each game. So 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions in the career of DJ Lagway against FBS.
So far from he's dangerous. There's no doubt. But when we talk about him, we talk about more about his intangibles. Him being in the games as opposed to not. That when he went out against Georgia, it was a big shift They didn't have anything behind him because Mertz had already been hurt. But he's a dangerous passer, but he's far from dependable at this point.
And I'm going to repeat this again. Losing that off season, no spring, very little summer,
that hurts his development
late into camp. I think that's significant here. And I'll give Hunt stat out again: 18 tackles for losses against Florida's offense in the first 2 games. They end up behind the sticks a lot. That's going to make things a lot harder on him.
Since he got the starting job against LSU last year, 6 games. Negative rushing yards in those 6 games. He's not a runner like people think.
Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris and Edward Jones Investments from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
Well, Max is attending to something right now, but Bruce, we do know this. Of our 8 contributors on college football, you're off to the best start. So very, very good, sir. Job well done, and let's keep it going. How's it feel?
It feels okay. It also feels good. I'm in Florida right now. They brought me down here to take some heat off of Billy Napier, but it's not working. He's getting all sorts of flack, as you could imagine.
How much is Billy Napier? How much is this damn schedule the last couple of years?
Part of it, yeah, and I think though that it's the way they've looked in some of the games. Though I really thought, at the end of last season they turned it around. Florida fans though, the expectations are through the roof, as bad as anywhere. And I maintain, Jimmy, that later this year they might look back and say that was not a terrible result against South Florida. I think there's a chance. I think South Florida's going to show up tomorrow and give Miami a heck of a game. This might be the group of 5, group of 6 rep in the playoff. Alex Golish, by the way, could be. They're already talking about him. Maybe he's the next guy in Gainesville. But I wouldn't. I'm not going to write off the Gators. Yeah, I've been reading some reports of saying, okay, this team's going to end up being 2-10 and all that. I wouldn't go that far, but he is under some pressure. That's for sure. And you'll see him tomorrow down the road, Tiger Stadium, and that's a big one for Napier, that's for sure.
It's the same athletic director, Dan Mullen, in his 4 years, goes 10-3, 11-2, 8-4. All right, 29-9. There's nothing wrong with that record, and that's 19-7 in the SEC. The 4th year he goes 6-7, 6-7, and they fired him. Napier, by comparison, is 6-7, 5-7, 8-5, and 10-14 in the conference. They are giving this guy way. I don't want anybody to lose their job. I get it. They're giving this guy way more rope. Jim McElwain went 10-4, 9-4, then he went 4-7, and they fired him. They have given him way more rope than they've given the last 2 coaches, and it's the same athletic director. So
it is, yeah.
But you fire him 2 years ago?
Well, I'm not saying you.
Okay, because last year they rallied, and they think they got their guy in Lagway, and Lagway showed support for him. So it's kind of a package deal.
And I get all that, but if anybody's saying, well, Billy Napier just needs more time, they didn't give the last 2 guys more time.
He's not getting more time.
The last 2 guys didn't get any time. They had winning records and in double-digit win seasons, 1 losing season, and they got run. This guy's gotten way more slack than that.
But you realize
you're right.
That's why I got it. Him and Lagway.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing, the last 2 guys are also, they pulled the plug before those seasons were over for both of them. And so that's going to be traumatic for a program. But everything you say is true. Somebody at Florida told me, they said, actually, what has worked in Napier's favor, they said he's just a very good guy, and everybody likes him there, and he's got a lot of people cheering for him to win, although the results are the main thing. But you're right. He's getting a lot more rope, and that's why I think he better turn it around quick. Yeah.
16 for 16 in the SEC. Everybody held on to their coach. And, Charlie, it's a new day, and they are being careful of paying coaches not to coach right now because they have to pay the players. They are. Have you heard of the booster fatigue? It's real. LSU's got their ads on the field now.
19.3 to buy him out at the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay, but this year. So what would have been last year?
Plus 7.
Okay, so but I mean that's $7 more million they could put, to pay the roster.
To put it into perspective, $19 million is just underneath what your revenue share is for the entire department.
In 2024-25, 16 out of 16 in this. It's not enough wins to go around to keep everybody's job. If the old rule where you didn't have to pay the players, then Arkansas may have a new coach. Florida's got a new coach. Help me out here. Mississippi State, maybe Kentucky. Auburn. It wouldn't be 16 for 16. It's not enough wins, to please everybody. Everybody has unrealistic expectations for these coaches. They're paid well, so they high pay, high expectations. Unrealistic pay, unrealistic expectations. It's a new deal where they're trying to scramble for money, and they're not in the business of just throwing money away on paying coaches not to coach. So that's part of it.
It's good. Now they're acting like responsible businesses. If my business, I'd run it the
how
way
about
the athletic
that?
department. Yeah.
You saying Auburn doesn't have a history of football, of acting responsibly? Charlie?
When you run out of money, you do have to stop spending.
I don't know. All right, Brucey, let's get to your picks. Let's roll through them, man. Let's go.
Who we got here? All right, let's start with the big one on Saturday night. That's in South Bend, and you know what? If Notre Dame loses this, all those people who bet the under 10.5 wins, they got a winner as of September 13th.
Wow.
Might happen. I think this 6.5 is a little pricey here. Although, Jimmy and Charlie, this is an interesting and a surprising point spread category result. 7 straight spread L's for Texas A&M and Mike Elko. Drill a little bit, though, and we'll see that a lot of those have been point spread thrillers right down at the end. UTSA hit a long pass with 14 seconds left to get inside the number 2 weeks ago, and Utah State was down 30 and scored late. That probably would have got inside the number anyway at 30. But those teams are not bad. They had experienced quarterbacks. And listen, there's nothing wrong with A&M's offense here. Marcel Reed with 7 TD passes, no picks, are scoring 43 per game. They look like they're all systems go. I am not sure about C.J. Carr yet. I think we saw enough in the Miami opener to think, down the road this guy might be okay because we saw some flashes of that upside, but not enough of it. And I thought the play calling was a little spotty, and maybe they do miss out Golden some on the defensive end. Also, that first game last year, that was Elko's first game at A&M, 23-13, a little misleading. That game was 13-13 inside of 2 minutes left, and Notre Dame scored twice. They had, I think, Love had a pretty long TD run and a field goal in the last few seconds. So that was a misleading 23-13. Too many points to give A&M. I think this is where Elko's point spread streak starts to go the other way. I think they got a shot to win this game, too, and should be a good one Saturday in South Bend at night.
Marcel Reed, so far, looks like he may have improved as a passer a little bit in his second full year starting. And did you see, Charlie, the videos at live from Wrigley Field? Pete Crow-Armstrong leading the yell practice in the bleachers?
I didn't.
I'm making it up.
Oh.
I didn't either. So just wondering if they're going to take over Wrigley Field like they did on the day before. They go to South Bend, just an hour drive down the road.
I do know he's got 7 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Can you see that, Bruce? Yell practice in the bleachers at the Cubs Rays game today?
I wouldn't have been surprised.
Brucey, continue. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, we talked about South Florida a second ago. Hey, I'm going to get on the bandwagon again. I kind of liked them last week at Gainesville. I like them down in Miami here. This early in the season, when a team is winning like that and that momentum, the emotions, I don't think there's a letdown at this point in the season. That might happen later, but the adrenaline is flowing so much for these guys. And listen, Byron Brown is a real playmaker, and that is, people thought South Florida was nuts that schedule at the start of the season and lose all 3. Heck, they're 2/3 of the way from a trifecta, be 3-0 and moving close to the top 10 if they win this one in Miami. I'm not sure if they're going to win, but I think they got a shot, and certainly plus 17.5 is definitely in play there. Alex Golesh has been building this thing for a few years. There's a lot of momentum in Tampa. They got a new stadium coming on campus there. There's money pouring into the program. If an SEC job calls, which I will guarantee you there will be at least one opening up at the end of this season, he'll be near the top of the list, as might John Summerall, but we'll talk about that later in the season. But they look like they're ready to break through, and I just need a little bit more convincing on Miami. I thought they caught a few breaks in that Notre Dame game. I'm not the biggest Carson Beck fan, though I know a lot of NFL guys like him. I'm going to take South Florida plus all those points, Jimmy, Charlie, tomorrow in Miami.
All right, South Florida get with the points even after an emotional plus 17.5 right now. That's a 3:30 kickoff down at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Next, Bruce.
Okay, let's go down the list. I'm going to go sort of off the grid here a little bit. And how about Navy? Now at Tulsa, bounced between 13.5 and 14. Navy didn't quite get there last week against UAB, but UAB, I mean, they can throw the ball around some. And they scored some points. That was a big number. That was a 3-touchdown number. Navy still almost got there. The offense is working good. Horvath is putting up some really good numbers. Tech's are running the football. So the option and the wing T elements in it are working just fine for Navy. They have hurt Tulsa a lot. They haven't met the last couple of years, but over the last decade, except for the COVID year. They've really dominated Tulsa. Tulsa played Army last year and got ripped. Now, there's a new coach. Trey Lamb at Tulsa, but look, they're having troubles with their offense. They could not beat New Mexico State last week. This looks very, very ominous for Tulsa. I will lay it with Navy in Tulsa tomorrow.
Navy had the drive. They were on their way to covering, and because they were up 14, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, they didn't take a real chance and kind of punted in a short yardage situation like inside the 40 and just kind of they were – I mean, it was a measured thing to do when you got a 14-point lead, but could have easily covered and won by 21 in that one. All right, Navy minus 14 against struggling Tulsa. Who else, Bruce?
Okay, just a real quick note here off the grid a bit. I'm not picking Georgia State's game this week, but did you see T.J. Finley has showed up there? Apparently he just joined the team last week. Don't you have to enroll at school to be eligible to play? I mean, he just shows up.
Is that 6 or 7 schools for T.J. Finley?
He's been there for a little bit longer than a week. I actually checked out on this story.
That's 6.
Okay, I went back. I said, how does he have any eligibility left? Okay, so here's the deal. He 2020 at LSU, COVID year doesn't count. 21 freshman at Auburn, 22 sophomore at Auburn, 23 junior at Texas State, 24 hurt medical red shirt at Western Kentucky, 2025 spent the spring at Tulane and the fall now at Georgia State for his senior year. I looked it up.
There you go. They're going to
was curious myself.
They're going to sign Jacoby Brissett next, I think, at Georgia State. So there you go.
All right,
okay,
Bruce,
here we go with another one, boys. I'm off the grid again with this one. How about East Carolina, which I think is actually pretty good. Since Blake Carroll took over last year midway, they moved Mike Houston out. I mean, they have been putting up some really good numbers. They've covered 7 of 8. You know, they pushed NC State in the opener. And we saw, if you watch NC State last night, they are not a bad team. They covered that number. Like I said, 7 of 8. East Carolina, has covered now. So with the new coach, so they are actually moving pretty good. Hauser, the quarterback, bringing up some pretty good numbers now. But this is also an anti-coastal Carolina pick, guys. You talk about a very unimpressive start. They got beat 48-49-7 by Virginia in the opener.
Right.
Last week, life and death with Charleston Southern. That was a 3-0 game in the fourth quarter. They were a 4-TD favorite. It looked like they might lose, and they did finally pull it out. Now, M.J. Morris, the quarterback who had come over from NC State, he has really struggled. 2 games, 0 TD passes, 4 picks. He almost threw a 5th pick last week, and that's when Tim Beck pulled him out and went to the backup, and they finally pushed across one more score to get a little bit out of danger, but unimpressive for Coastal Carolina right now. This is not a big number for East Carolina to be laying in Conway at Myrtle Beach, so I'll do it with East Carolina tomorrow.
Minus 8.5 for the short trip from Greenville. Where is East Carolina? Greenville is where you fly into when you got to go to Clemson, and then to Myrtle Beach. All right, Brucey, one more for your 5-pack this week.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more here. I'm going to give you Utah State. We've been riding them a little bit here the first couple weeks. They came back. They were, slinging the ball for 60 minutes last week against A&M, got the cover. We've talked about Bronco Mendenhall coming in here and I think upgrading things. So they're 2-0 against the number. They won the first game against Utah pretty handily. Barnes, the quarterback, had been at Utah before. Lively offense. Bronco has played the option before. In fact, last year when he was at New Mexico, he beat Air Force. And Troy Calhoun still got a new quarterback in there, or at least the quarterback didn't play much last year, is now taking snaps. It took Air Force a while to really get in gear last year. You're getting, last I saw, getting 4.5 and Logan for the U-Tags here. I think they could win this game. I thought this is a team to watch in the Mountain West from the start because of Bronco there. They got offense, and I think this is going to be a close game and maybe a Utah State win, plus the points, U-Tags.
All right, Brucey, your best pick and why in the NFL slate for Sunday/Monday?
Rams, Titans under on Sunday. The Rams have been going under quite a bit since the late last season. We saw that game a little tedious against Houston. The defense is fine. I was very impressed with Tennessee's defense against Denver. Very impressed. And they kept Denver. They had flustered Bo Nix. The Broncos were running at top one with Harvey in the fourth quarter. Now, Cam Ward's got a ways to go. I'm not sure he's not ready. I'm not sure his offensive line is ready because Denver was pouring through in the fourth quarter, sacking him. Rams have a good enough defense to keep him in check, but Tennessee's defense looks real to me. 41.5. This game is played in the teens, and I'd be even tempted to take Tennessee, but I'm going to stick on the under. Rams-Titans Sunday in Music City.
Rams-Titans under 41.5 right now. Very good, Bruce. Congratulations. Max is back now, so Max, the final. How far is Bruce ahead of the field on Fridays here?
Let's see. He is 10-4, so quite a ways ahead of. You're 9-5, so you're not too far off, Jimmy.
I'm coming, Bruce. I'm coming for you, Brucey. So
okay. We're just in the club. We're in the clubhouse turn. We got a long way to go.
We're going to bet that Nevada Wolfpack gear, okay? We're going to put it on the line. So, anyway.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, I want to make sure I get this in, too. T.J. Finley graduated from Auburn. I want to give him credit. He graduated in 2023, so he graduated 2 years ago. He's still playing college football.
It's the greatest thing in the transfer portal. The transfer portal era. It has made the student-athletes so much more smart.
Well,
I mean, I
don't think you should go to 6 schools in 4 years either, 5 years either, but he did graduate, so I want to point that out.
Nothing gives you, nothing is better for academic results than transferring school to school.
Yeah, the credits just move very easily.
and Bruce, a little sarcasm here on a Friday.
No.
Thank you, Brucey. Good luck, man. You're the best.
Okay, boys. Take care.
All right. Yes, indeed. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris and Edward Jones Investments. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Your unit break. How about that? You're trying to watch the game, or you have some people, you have guests coming in, staying for the weekend, and that AC unit breaks down. Call our friends over at Total Maintenance. They're one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies, founded back in 1980. The leader, Lucas Ragusa, has worked in every level of this whole operation, from bottom to top, and he knows what it takes to put a great staff together, to give people service. He's gotten more than enough feedback over the years on what the customers are really looking for, and that's why they stress service today, every day. Same day service means no, you will not sleep hot if you call 480-1000. We've had the horror stories where it's taken multiple days to get out to you and because people are backed up. Not the case with Total Maintenance. 480-1000, 480-1000. Total Maintenance. Nobody sleeps hot.
Live at Rufino's. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Make sure you use Louisiana rice, grown by Louisiana farmers since 1936. Available at most local grocery stores. Supreme Rice.
All right, we got to 500 on the season. I started a week behind these guys. So 5-5 for the year, 3-2 last week. See what we can do to get above 500 here. Give you a Friday night game. We'll go to Tucson tonight and take Arizona plus 1.5 against Kansas State. Tough start for the Kansas State Wildcats. They don't look like a Chris Kleiman team at all to me. They lost. Who's a very good coach. They lost to Iowa State close. That was over in Ireland. We got families fighting. It was kind of an ugly thing there. And then they need the last drive to beat North Dakota in the last minute last week. They got outgained and beat by Army, who lost to Tarleton State. Avery Johnson's been okay, not spectacular, but the defense has given up 29 points a game. And Arizona can score. 86 points in their first 2 games, 86-9. That's Hawaii and Weber State. I get it. They're not any good. But they did what they were supposed to do. They went out, they took those games over in the first quarter and dominated them from start to finish. Noah Fafita, who I loved as a freshman and had a really bad sophomore year last year. Looks more like the player he was 2 years ago. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, I know they haven't played anybody, but I'm getting points at home. First true road game for Kansas State. Give me Arizona plus the 1.5. Go to Knoxville tomorrow. I'm going to take Tennessee plus the 4 against Georgia. Let's keep this simple. I got the better quarterback. I'm getting points, and I'm at home. 8 in a row in this series for Georgia. This has got a little bit of a feel to the time when Tennessee finally broke through against Alabama and beat them 52-49. I don't expect those kind of points in this game, but I do think Tennessee has got a great chance to win this game outright, and Georgia could easily win it by a field goal. I'll take the Vols plus the 4. Let's go to West Lafayette. Purdue catching 20.5 at home against USC. Lincoln Riley at USC on the road, 8-7 straight up, 5-10 against the number. They were 1-4 straight up last year on the road. They were 1-4 against the spread on the road last year. And guess where the road game they won was?
UCLA.
All the way across town at UCLA.
But it's about a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, that's true. It is. You are a poor scientist, Dr. Venkman. You are a poor road coach, Coach Riley. I'm going to take Purdue here, plus 20.5. Barry Odom's got a little something. They feel good. They had 3 straight losing seasons before he got there, and this is very early. What do you say all the time about the road? The climb up is fun when you're ascending.
Oh,
he's got their attitude right. I don't know how good the football team is.
The ascend is the best time.
Yeah, so they feel pretty good about themselves over there right now. I don't know if they're really good or not, but I'm going to take all these points against USC, who has not been a great road team under Lincoln Riley. To take A&M plus 6.5 at Notre Dame. Marcel Reed, 66% of his passes completed with an 8.2 yard per attempt average. So they're throwing the ball down the field a little bit. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's still running the football, 5.8 yards a carry. He's got 105 yards and a touchdown. And they've got a complimentary running game with him that's got 2 heads now. Le'Veon Moss was good a year ago. Reuben Owens, they're both averaging over 6 yards a carry, and they've got double-digit carries on the young season. Now, A&M has given up some yards, and they've given up some points, but I'm not as concerned about it. A lot of that stuff last week to Utah State, and look, I benefited. I took Utah State in the points. They got in and covered, but they were down 30-6 at the half. So a lot of those yards and points were garbage last week. Notre Dame went toe-to-toe with Miami. They lost by 3 on the road. They got a very nice tandem of backs, Jarian Price and Jeremiah Love, almost 5 yards a carry against the Canes. But C.J. Carr, the young quarterback, he's got a little something to him. I think he's got a little moxie. But Mike Elko is a very good defensive coach, and I think he's probably going to throw something at the freshman that he hasn't seen before. It might just be enough to maybe get 1 turnover. That might be enough. I like A&M. I think a great shot to win this game straight up, and I'll take the points plus 6.5. And we'll go to late night at Cal. Cal catching 3 at home against Minnesota. You might have heard Cal's got a freshman quarterback that has got a little juice to him. But you might not know how to say his name. Jordan, how do you say his name?
Sanga Polutelli.
Again.
Keave. Sanga Polutelli.
Again.
Keave. Sanga Polutelli.
Say it loud.
Keave. Sanga Polutelli.
One more.
Keave. Sanga Polutelli.
I practiced. So it's Jaron Keave Sanga Polutelli. There's no N in his name, but in the Polynesian culture, I learned this yesterday. In the Polynesian culture, you can insert the N sound without an N in the name. Sanga Polutelli. So don't try to sound it out by looking at the letters. You have to do a little research.
Tuatunga Vailoa.
I never. It took me a long time to get to that. Sanga Polutelli. 70% of his passes, 3 touchdowns and interception. He's also run for a touchdown this year. But why do I like Cal in this game besides the young quarterback? There's a young quarterback on the other side, too, for Minnesota. Drake Lindsey. Guess what this is, Jimmy? His first road start.
It's a hostile environment?
No.
They're hanging from the trees.
They're very accommodating down in Berkeley, but it is a road start. I'm going to take the Bears plus the 3. So Arizona plus 1.5 tonight, Tennessee plus 4, Purdue plus 20.5, A&M plus 6.5, and Cal plus 3.
Kent State, a little road weary maybe, huh? Going to Dublin, going around. They blew that lead late. They probably should have covered, but I watched that game. It was a really good game. They gave Army a chance, and they bit them. They got them at the end. So
Kleiman's a good coach. They just don't look like a Kleiman coach team. You know,
No, and listen, expectations. Now, was that Iowa State game? Is that a Big 12 game? I know it's Big 12 teams. Understand that, but was that?
Yes,
it did count.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Because I heard somebody say that there was not a conference game.
No, it counts.
So okay, Tennessee +4. We'll get to that a little bit later as well. You talked about keep it simple with the better quarterback at home catching points. Mr. Stockton, his first true road start in a hostile environment. I know Tennessee will be a tough place to play for them tomorrow. What time's kickoff on that one?
It's 2:30, right?
2:30. Okay. Purdue +20. Barry Odom caught my attention when he was really talking highly about his team this year. Like, wait, what? This was as tough of a job as you could. Some people scratching their heads like, why are you taking this job when you get a better job than Purdue? They have a chance an under has a chance to cash tomorrow. An over has a chance to cash tomorrow. 2.5. Purdue is 2-0. The first time a first-year coach at Purdue has been 2-0 in about 100 years. And so they win. They can go cash the total over. And Notre Dame, under 10.5. They have a chance to cash the under tomorrow should they lose to Texas A&M. Speaking of A&M, we talked about that. So Marcel Reed, he's got a chance. You talked about the stats. You brought up the stats. My eyeballs say he's throwing with touch and some accuracy, makes some plays. Really nice play off schedule where he had to throw the ball on the run to the tight end. Maybe taking that step in the development as a pass. And yes, the latest addition to Josie's playbook. Yes, Miss Josie, Charlie would have graduated on time if LSU would have offered Polynesian pronunciations as a curriculum. So it's not his fault. It is LSU just was limited in the curriculums that they could offer.
Javen, Keavi, Sangapula, Javen, Keavi, Sangapula. This kid's really good. I'm going to be insufferable with this name. He's off to a good start.
Don't forget our friends over at Town Square Pizza. You're in town for the LSU-Florida game. Whether you're Florida fans or LSU fans, you staying downtown. This pizza joint is within 5-minute, 3-minute walking distance from all the major hotels downtown. It's on North Street facing Town Square, right across from the brand-new library that doesn't have hydraulic jacks anymore. That's right. So it's piping hot. It's fresh. It's good. It takes you... you create your own or do one of the specialty pizzas in and out the oven in about 8 minutes, and it's really generous portions for affordable prices as well. Downtown, staying for this weekend, need a quick bite to eat? Man, go check out Town Square Pizza facing Town Square.
Live at Rufino's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy Ott's 5-pack of picks, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Make sure you use Louisiana rice, grown by Louisiana farmers since 1936. Available at most local grocery stores. Supreme Rice.
Knock on wood. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Pittsburgh, baby. Eli Holstein. How's he doing, huh? He looks pretty good. West Virginia's got it. Look, Rich Rod, that's my boy, man. He's going to get it done, but not this year. He's got a bear covered. He took an alarming number of players from Jacksonville State. I don't know about that. This line is not my favorite. It's at 7.5 right now, but I will still lay it. So I'm going to take the Pitt Panthers and minus the 7.5 against West Virginia. In the West Virginia-Ohio game, it finished 17-10. It was not that close. 179 more yards for the Ohio Bobcats against West Virginia. They outgained it by 179 yards. So that 17-10 score, it was way worse than that final score indicated. So turnovers, that's why Ohio had 5 turnovers to 2. Now I include failed fourth downs, turnover and downs into that equation as well. So give me Pitt minus the points. Holstein, 76% of his passes are completed, 10.2 yards per attempt, 10 TDs and 2 interceptions. Check on 77 rushing as well. Get down, Eli, though, after you cross that first down marker. So you got to keep him upright. He missed a couple of games due to injury last year. Charlie. All right, let's see. Bryce Underwood, how'd he do on his first true road start in a hostile environment?
Ain't letting do nothing.
How about Arch Manning? How'd he do against Ohio State?
Not well.
C.J. Carr finished strong, but he certainly had his struggles down at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Oh, how about this one? Here's one. Mark Gronowski to Iowa. How'd he do at Ames last week?
Oh, no,
covered.
Yeah.
But he
shut up.
Triple digits on passing yardage. No. So, 4 yards? How about Ty Simpson? How do you do at Doak Campbell? First young quarterback making a first true road start. Gunnar Stockton, and he trusts his legs way too much for more than his arm. And yes, Charlie, Aguilar, he's going to hit some, he's going to miss some. Hopefully the misses fall to the turf, but we're taking Tennessee plus a point. Rocky Top will be rocking in that one. Okay, Lane Kiffin, do we accept his apology? Well, I'll say this. They were rushed down there. They would have spiked the ball. Instead of 12 seconds where he called timeout, they may have had 10. They probably still kicked the field goal at the end as well. Did get a break on him. But the one thing that we looked at last week that we failed to, the New Ole Miss quarterback, it was his first. Is that a hostile environment at Commonwealth? It was Saturday. It was Saturday. Yeah. So he started off. How did he start off? Terrible. 2 first-quarter interceptions. That put him behind. They still were that close to covering. Now, let me see. This line was 10.5. Look-ahead line. It's now 6.5. You don't get any credit for whooping up on Alabama A&M or Arkansas State. And that's who Taylor Green has put this 10 touchdowns mark up against. Give me the Johnny Rebs at home, minus a 6.5. Hotty toddy. Don't apologize. Just freaking cover, boy. All right, let's move on. LSU minus 7. This was 7 in the summer. This was 7 last week before Florida lost. It opened up 9.5. It's been bet down to 7. That's where it is at our friends down at the Queen right now at the DraftKings Sports Outlet. Shame. Like them nuns popping up Cersei in Game of Thrones. Shame. Anyway, shame on LSU if they don't put it on Florida in a revenge spot at night, Tiger Stadium. Look at the schedule. The fans ain't getting into it this one. When they going to get into it? They're excited about their team after a little hiccup against Louisiana Tech last week. So, come on, man. Sunbelt Billy, you got them at our place. Wait, the team's ready. They don't care what happened against South Florida. They know what happened at the Swamp last year. The Tigers, minus a 7. And, Charlie, go ahead, graduate school.
Oh.
Polynesian pronunciations for 400, Alex.
Let's see.
You got to go to your notes? This is why this guy took 17 years to graduate.
Jaron Keawe Sangapula-Telly. Jaron Keawe Sangapula-Telly. Actually, I forgot his first name. I forgot his first name.
Hostile environment. I've been to Berkeley. A little bit of a reach, but we'll take it. Give us that first true road start. I'm with Charlie on this one. We try to get him graduated here. Cal plus 3. LSU minus 7. Ole Miss minus 6.5. Tennessee plus 4. Pitt minus 7.5.
Have you seen the kid play, Sangapula-Telly?
Yeah, he's an Oregon signee. He was he's talented. He was highly recruited out of Hawaii. Came in. He's got that kind of twitchiness.
It's a funky release, and he's left-handed to boot, so it looks weird. For some reason, he's good.
A lot of the kids out of Hawaii they're not super. The quarterbacks aren't super
mechanical.
Sound mechanically. They're kind of a little bit wild there, little wild cards. But he's twitchy. He can make things happen, and he can make things happen with his feet to extend plays to make passes. So he left when your boy came from UCLA. I mean, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good, and he's now against Air. We got to see in a couple of weeks against Penn State with Oregon. Tricky little spot. One of these umpteen 4-touchdown favorites are in like kind of letdown spots or look ahead spots, and you just wonder if the opponent is good enough to even stay on the field with them. But no, he makes things happen. It might be an upgrade for Mendoza.
Yeah,
might be.
He's an interesting prospect to watch.
Certainly different than Mendoza.
Yeah, Eli Holstein.
Alabama wanted him. Texas A&M wanted him. He went to Alabama.
He's still got 2 years of eligibility left after this.
He probably. I think he might stay one more year.
Well, I'm just pointing out that it feels like he's been out longer than that, because we started talking about him in 22 when the intense recruiting battle was going on. He's from right there in Zachary. 23, he sat out. He was a redshirt at Alabama, and he's been at Pitt for 2 years. It feels like he's been out of high school forever. He hasn't. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. I'm just saying.
So that Zachary Scotlandville rivalry between him and Zay Toussaint. They started for so many years in high school.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it feels like he's been around forever. He's still got 2 years left after this year.
So split the difference. Probably the chalk is that he'll to play one more year. He might trade, huh?
Yeah.
You don't think he's on LSU's radar
Do
for next year?
Yeah.
That's the breadcrumbs I'm trying to leave you.
No.
Zachary, who's looking for a quarterback next year?
Dad was a punter for LSU, so he's got. But I don't. What did they offer him at the times? He was getting
Walker Howard was in that same class.
So Walker Howard had committed to LSU already.
That's the way I remember it. Is Howard was coming here, and he was
I will
going
say
there.
when Jane Daniels came here, we thought he was only going to be here a year. Stayed for a second year.
Well, I don't know if he's going to stay in
I'm
school
just
for 2 more years. I'm just saying that next year I think he'll be playing college football, and it might not be at Pitt, right? Is he going to have offers? Is he going to, if he puts himself out there?
Tampering.
You don't want to speak for the kid, but LSU will not be the only offer that he has.
And maybe he loves it up there. Maybe he wants to stay at Pitt. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying.
He might, but you have a lower ceiling at Pitt, obviously. Yeah. I mean, who else has got a quarterback that's obviously going to be moving on in the SEC next year? It's Taylor Green going to Arkansas. LSU's better than that equals LSU's offer. As far as the higher expectation, is Marcel Reed going to move on from Texas A&M?
Yeah, is Alabama going to still be looking for a quarterback? He wouldn't go back there. That's a bad example.
Don't they have that freshman that was highly recruited?
They do, and he wouldn't go back there because that's a bad example.
What about Georgia?
Possibly. South Carolina's going to be looking for a quarterback. Lenore Sells.
What about Texas when Arch falls in his face?
That's a worse example than Alabama. Max, you got picks?
Oh, man.
I do.
Okay. Well, we should get to Max's picks.
Well, hold on 1 second, soldier. We want to talk about.
Read your thing.
Yes, I am. We want to talk about our friends over at Las Palmas. It's one of our new sponsors, and we're going to be doing shows over there once a month. So, really looking forward to it. So, our friends over at Las Palmas, again, fajitas, the enchiladas, the best margaritas in town. Las Palmas Mexican Grill and Rio Cantina Mexican Grill have you covered. You can bring the family, bring your friends, bring your appetite. From fresh guacamole to mouthwatering tacos, it hits just right. Not just dinner, it's a celebration. So why wait tonight? Make it Las Palmas or make it Rio Cantina, 2 local favorites serving up authentic Mexican taste right here in Baton Rouge. We will be at the airline location in Gonzales. They've got the garage-style doors. They open up when the weather is really good. Big, extensive bar, and it's family-friendly, generous portions, fresh Mexican for affordable pricing as well. Las Palmas, with several locations, including right down the street here from Rufino's on Highland Road.
Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hit it, Max.
3-2 last week, 8-7 for the season. Oregon was my Lock of the Week. I think they still just scored against Oklahoma State. Going to start off with Central Michigan, plus 27.5 at Michigan. This is a sleepy situation for Michigan, like we saw with Clemson against Troy, off a disappointing loss that they sustained against Oklahoma last week. They've got a trip to Lincoln against Nebraska on deck. Central Michigan, by the way, they're running a triple option type of offense. Matt Drinkle comes in, their head coach, replaces Shark Guy, from Florida. Comes from Army. So Army background, triple option. Central Michigan are going to run the clock. This is going to be a low-scoring game. Michigan just wants to get out of here with a win. So I'll take the 27.5 points. Chips up with Central Michigan. Next game, I'm going to go with Buffalo laying 21.5 at Kent State. Kent State, according to SP Plus by Bill Connolly, 190th in the country. They're 136 FBS team, so they are below even FCS standards. They are terrible. They lost this game big time last year, 43-7. Buffalo, meanwhile, decent team in the MAC. They're supposed to maybe have a chance to win the MAC. They did lose their opener against Minnesota, but Kent State is nobody. They got beat 62-14 against Texas Tech last week for a backdoor cover. They're not going to have that opportunity with the 21.5 here. So I'll lay it with the Bulls. UAB, minus 11.5 against Akron. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm going to back Trent Dilfer and the Blazers here. This is more about Akron. Akron is terrible. We just had 11 people at the bar between us and Barry the bartender. All of us have combined offensively for the same amount of points that the Zips have so far this year. They have scored 0 points in 2 games, and they are fortunately up against a very bad UAB defense. I just don't think they're going to exploit it. Jalen Kitna comes in, the former Florida quarterback for UAB. Their offense has been moving. It's just their defense that I worry about. But against Akron, they can't put up points. So I'll lay 11.5 with Trent Dilfer somehow. I can't believe I'm doing that. I'm always against Trent Dilfer. But Blazers here, minus 11.5. Air Force, minus 4.5 at Utah State. This is a scheduling spot here. Air Force, a better team. They ended with 4 straight wins to end their season last year. Started off with a win in week 1 against Bucknell. That's nothing to really write home about. But they had a bye week last week. Meanwhile, Utah State was playing in College Station. So they were playing against a Power 5 team and, getting run up a good bit. They covered. I think you had them, Charlie. But, they're not really able to rest their guys. Now they got to go up against the triple option where Air Force has had time to prepare for Utah State. It's a great spot here for Air Force. I'll take the Falcons. A military school getting extra time. Off a bye week, I'll take Air Force minus 4.5. And finally, my lock of the week, Southern Miss plus 3.5. Home dog against Appalachian State. Appalachian State has a former LSU quarterback. You know who that is, Charlie?
No.
A.J. Swan was there last year. He is the starting quarterback for the Mountaineers. App State just not the same as they once were. Unfortunately, Lindenwood lost by 7 last week against App State. Southern Miss brings in Charles Huff from Marshall. He brought his whole team with him. They're expected to be a whole lot better this year. Big win over Jackson State last week as expected. They lost to Mississippi State. They're fine. The home dog here catching 3.5. That's way too much against Appalachian State.
I don't know how you 11 guys at the bar could expect to score when you let Barry the bartender be quarterback.
Well, they're somehow better than Akron.
Let's go to the replay on that one again. Charlie, you know who the Appalachian State quarterback is?
You didn't know either.
I'm just saying. It was so. You were a little bit more enthusiastic with the Polynesian pronunciation.
Sangapulatelli. So A.J. Swan just doesn't get the juices going.
Go ahead, Max. I don't know.
That's it.
No, he's done.
Football Sunday, this Sunday, originating from our new home. We did have a great time, and we want to thank again publicly Carl Johnson over at the Beau Rivage. Now, he's doing his own thing now independently. He's no longer affiliated with him, but he was an unbelievable host the past couple of years for March Madness and for Football Sunday down at the Beau Rivage. We're going to miss all of our bartenders and Ahmad and Dean and Mark and all of our servers, and just, we had a great time. But we are turning the page, and you heard Samir Mawad yesterday on the Senior Vice President, General Manager of the New Caesars New Orleans, where they just dumped $440 million in their renovation a little over a year ago, including the creation of their new sports book. So we'll be there 2 and 4. The second and fourth. All right, here is Football Sunday this Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. Cappers Recap brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Earlier this week, West Reynolds gives us Temple plus 27.5. Northwestern in Western Michigan. Temple, Northwestern in Western Michigan. Matt Humans has Florida, Cal, Temple in Purdue. Chris Macero, you heard earlier, Delaware, Vandy, under Alabama, Wisconsin, over Duke, Tulane, under Georgia, Tennessee. Off the additional picks, he gave us Florida, A&M, Bowling Green, and Boston College. Troy gave us Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Oregon. Bruce gave us A&M, South Florida, Navy, East Carolina, Utah State. Hanny gave us Arizona, Tennessee, Purdue, A&M, and Cal. Max, Central Michigan, Buffalo, Southern Miss, UAB, and Air Force. And I got Pitt, Tennessee, Hotty Toddy, Tigers, LSU, and Cal. That Berkeley's going to be rocking Saturday.
Tomorrow, Eagle 98.1 game day at 1:30 from Rouse's on Monday.
Josie, he would have graduated on time.
Chris's Specialty Foods right across the street here. Our first show there, 10 o'clock Monday. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN.